Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dimes with Dara on the Joy Slot podcast, brought to you by IrishSportsDaily.com. I am Greg Flammang, and that is Dara Mabrey. Regular season's over for the Notre Dame women's basketball team. We've got the ACC tournament on deck. Notre Dame isn't scheduled to play until Friday. They've got the double bye in the ACC tournament. They are the 2 seed in that tournament, which is surprising, not expected. But we'll talk about that. There was a little bit of a swoon. We said that, after the NC State game that went to double overtime, it's okay, it's one of those games. Then they had another one of those games against Florida State at home on senior night. So we're going to talk about that and what's going on with them, some trends. And, look at Neil Ivey said it's a new season coming up for them with tournament time. You just got the ACC tournament, and after that, the NCAA tournament. So we're going to talk about all those things. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so wherever it is we are releasing any videos. Links to the show are in the description below. And as always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ge Wang. You've seen ESQ on all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches. With over a decade of making the best custom clothing available, ESQ will help you look and feel your best in 2025 from perfect fitting suit or sport coat, shirt or bomber jacket, or the perfect tuxedo for wedding season. Check out Ge's amazing work at esqclothing.com. Book an appointment to upgrade your wardrobe today. Mention ISD and get 10% off your entire purchase. Dara, we said that the loss to NC State was a good thing, a potentially good thing, right? And it could get the ladies back on track and come home against Florida State. 15-point lead in the first half. It evaporated in the second quarter, and they went on to lose at home. What did you see there? There's a lot of talk about penetration. There's too much penetration going on. We talked a little bit about that on about NC State. Tania Latson, she did the thing. She did it to him.
She did.
Michaela Timpson, she 22 and 17. She did the thing in the game. They're playing good basketball. Florida State is, and they played a very good basketball game. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame had some struggles, though. What did you see in those games that kind of led to 2 straight losses for them?
Yeah. Defense. I mean, we could say the first NC State loss was offense and defense, but I think the Florida State game was just the epitome of poor defense and no awareness to multiple things. So we'll start off. Latson is so quick. Her first step is so quick. She's very explosive, but her 3-point shot is not her biggest strength. So number one, we just looked like we could not guard the ball. The guards were getting downhill and driving past us every single time, which leads me to the next thing is no awareness. If you know that our guards are struggling to guard the ball, why aren't you 2 feet in the paint and help? They were getting downhill and just going to the rim. And 1, 2 free throws, open layup. And in transition too, there was no help, even if it's just like a stab and recover. There's no awareness. So it's just like, what are you doing on the ball and what are you doing off the ball? If you're aware of who's guarding the ball, then maybe you should move closer, get in help earlier, and communicate. And then boxing out, Michaela was just going over our post players and catching it and going up. So at what point before the ball hits the rim, are you going to just turn around and use your posterior and push her out of the paint? Right. Cause athleticism and jumping was her expertise. Yeah. So it's okay, now use what you have, use your strength and push her out. And then if you're going to foul her, why don't you foul her a little harder? So it's not an and 1 every single time. She had a really good game, credit to her. She played like a pro. And I'm really excited to see where she goes after this, because I think she's really good and she did really good against us. And then I think the third thing is just having a little pride. It was senior night. It's your second to last home game. And you have a really special group of seniors, a lot of seniors that have, been through a lot, sacrificed a lot, and who are also really special to Niel. So that was just sad to see them go out that way. So I think it was just a poor performance, bad defense, no awareness. And yeah.
And it's a loss,
Yeah.
38 points in the paint for Florida State in the game. You're talking about the defensive piece of this. They've played teams with guards like this, who have been able to, get into the paint and to break them down a little bit. I mean, to be honest, this is kind of how they lost to TCU with Haley Van Lith and how she was able to just completely break them down in the fourth quarter. And then obviously it was months ago this happened, right? And it was they were off in the Bahamas. They're not in America, right? So it was just kind of like a weird time, right? They did obviously much better against Gigi Watkins.
Yeah,
it's early. Like it was a thing, right?
They
but
were focused.
It kind of showed up again. Yeah.
You were at that USC
What do you
game,
mean focused?
Right?
I was, yeah.
Like you could. Yeah. They were defending like a unit. So everyone knew where Juju was. Everyone knew where their best players was, and they were rotating like this. It just seemed like no one knew where Lotson was. And again, personnel, like why are you guarding her all the way up there when you know her first step is her quickest strength? Take a step back and put your hand out. Like make her shoot a contested jump shot over you or take a three. But going downhill and getting to the rim is her bread and butter. And then gambling too. We gambled so much, and they have quick athletic guards that are just going to make you pay when you gamble. It was like a frustrating game to watch because it's like the things that you absolutely can't do against Florida State, we did. And that's the frustrating part, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're describing mental errors here.
Right.
In terms of like where you're positioning and not being aware of, what her strengths are and what she's trying to do. Mental errors, those come from fatigue. It's the end of a long season. Notre Dame plays their main players. Hannah, Liv, Sony, like they play them heavy minutes, and
right.
Is there some sort of fatigue factor? I'm just trying to figure out, it's not really an excuse, right? As much as it's like, is it a reason why, man, we haven't seen this all year, right? Like they've been pretty on point with their rotations and playing where they're supposed to. And defensively, they've been really good. And in the last couple of games, it's been a little bit, it's been a little touch and go, right? And obviously they bounced back at the end against Louisville, which is nice. They had a nice run in the second half there and they pulled away from Louisville in their final home game. But it's just been, can you attribute that to fatigue a little bit? Mental fatigue, just in terms of, you're making mental errors at this point of the season. Would you put something to the fact that maybe they're just a little bit tired?
Yes, but I feel like my pride won't let me because I just like.
Well, no, I don't want to. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to excuse it or anything. It's just like it's one of those things. As a player, as a competitor, like you were thinking, they need to push through this, right? Like yes, you're tired, and maybe that's true. You need to do better, right? Like it's not an excuse. Like fatigue is what it is. Everyone is at the end of the year. It's not like Florida State isn't at the end of the year.
That's what I was going to say.
Latson hasn't been a main player for them, right? Like obviously
it's not like everyone else isn't tired.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, to your point. Yes, we do play our core a lot of minutes. They probably are tired. But I think that there's a difference between being tired and just sometimes it just looked like they didn't care, So it's like You can be tired, and it's also another thing to let somebody blow past you, not be in help, and not know the personnel. So it's like, then are you just coughing it up to 2 awful games back to back? Because those are just like wins, like tricking off losses. Like neither of those games we should have lost. So it's just frustrating. Like I think that two losses like that back to back, it'd be the easy thing to say, well, we're fatigued, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last 5 games for Hannah shooting the ball, 29 of 85 for that's 34%. It's not good. 6 of 21 from 3, which is, I want to say, just do the math real quick, 29%. Just 29% from 3. I think it was 34% from the field overall. And I texted you, like, there has been a regression to the mean a little bit with this team in terms of 3-point shooting. And, they were leading the nation, which I believe we talked about it a little bit, just like makes us a little bit nervous just because, like, are you relying on that? Like, are you able to kind of count on that as tournament time comes? And, if the shot goes away, then what are you going to go to in that sense? I think in the last 5 games, Maddie has been kind of de-emphasized on the offensive end, right? She hasn't taken double-digit shots. I think the most shots she's taken is 7 in a game in the last 5. She's shooting 15 to 29. It's not like she's shooting the ball poorly or anything like that. Sony's obviously been shooting the ball really well. I think Liv's seen a dip in her 3-point efficiency for sure. But listen, against Florida State especially, like you have Hannah took the most shots. I think it was Leah 2 and Sony who, kind of were the top 3 scorers in that game with Hannah, or in top 3 volume players in that game. Hannah goes 4 of 18, right? Like it's one of those things where there's not enough possessions and there's not enough ball to have a bunch of players be volume shooters. So if one of your top 3 shooters in terms of attempts is 4 of 18, like that's obviously a problem, right? So
right.
We saw this from Hannah a little bit last year as well. About the end of the year, efficiency wise, she broke down a little bit. Against FSU, she's continually trying to get to the basket, and we saw this against we saw it against FSU. We saw it against NC State a little bit, just trying to get in the basket and kind of forcing like really tough shots. And if she's not getting fouled, you're missing shots. Those are leading to breaks where they're getting out in transition and Hannah's behind the play, so she's not a factor there. How do you overcome when your star player is inefficient from the field, right? I mean, at 34%, she's taking 85 shots, right? So like that is going to be a drain on your offense, right? If you're not getting stops on the other end, and then on offense, you're kind of taking not the best shots. How do they get out of this, right? Like, do they just need for her to shoot better? Like, is it just simply, it's like you just got to shoot better. You got to take better shots. I mean, we talked about shot selection on the last show. Is that the same kind of case in the Florida State game as well?
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of 2 things. So you just said it, take better shots, and adjust to how the game is being called. Like if she flies in there and she gets the first foul, okay, yeah, maybe you're a little more aggressive. Or if the refs are letting some of the physicality go, maybe they're not going to give you the calls. Maybe shoot the pull-up some more. Her pull-up is a really good shot for her. She loves that little one dribble pull-up, or her moves into it. So shot selection is just like time and place, especially off of an offensive rebound. Pull it out. Make them guard 5 superstars in the half court again. So shot selection, and then to the 3-point percentage, it's just the ones that they're taking. Like they're taking bad ones. It's the first 3 off of the first transition screen, and then it's a 3 and they're fading and already running backwards. It's not a good shot. And then the second thing is, you could say shoot better, but also like this should not be a thing when you have Olivia Miles, Sonia Citron, Maddie Westbell, Leah King, Liza, and damn near the rest of the roster surrounding you.
Yeah.
Give Sonia Citron the ball. Give her the ball. And it's like they go to her too late. You should not be deferring to her, or that's the default. Like if someone's not hitting, if Hannah's not hitting, if anybody else isn't hitting, now we'll go to Sonia. Like, no. They've already now clogged the paint, and now it's going to be more of a force for Sonia to get a shot rather than getting an easier one. So give Maddie the ball more. Give Sonia the ball more. I think Leah Two's attempts, correct me on the numbers, I think she's gotten a lot of good looks. And Liv has got a lot of good looks too, but I still think Liv could have got some better looks on Sunday, in my opinion. So I think it's just you have to get other people involved, and you need better shot selection. But I just think that those numbers should not be a thing when you have the rest of the roster that you do in the same half court with you.
Yeah. Liv's getting her looks when she's attacking the basket, right? Shooting threes in the last 5, again, 9 of 32. So she's 28% from 3. Those aggressive pull-ups, right? Those step backs, like they're just not falling at the moment. And look, it's caused inefficiency on offense for sure. We've seen it. I mean, they're the top 2 players. They're not shooting the ball well. And they're the most volume shooters on the team at this moment. So,
right.
Look, they've got to work through that. Are you concerned about Notre Dame on the inside as an inside team with Maddie and Leah too, and then Liza and Kate coming off the bench? I'm kind of not, but I'm curious to get your view on that.
I'm not.
Like, you don't. I don't really see it as a weakness, or not. It's just not glaring to me. It shouldn't be something that holds them back from doing the things that they want to do.
No, the things that'll hold them back have been the 2 consistent things that we've seen in every loss: defense and taking care of the ball, taking good shots. It's the Achilles heel of the team. Yeah. It's literally the Achilles heel is guarding and shot selection / at time earlier on it was turning the ball over, and now it's shot selection. So I guess it's just decision making on offense. No, I think our post present is good, and I think Kate off the bench, she's been so much better the past couple games than she was like the stretch before that, trying to find her role. Maddie's coming back, adjusting to the physicality. I think Kate has been great recently, and Liza was great on Sunday. Yeah.
How does the team process this, right? Sony, she gave a quote post Florida State about, someone asked the question about, dropping 2 straight and getting it back together. And she's like, we talk about it, but we got to go do it or whatever, which kind of like gives some insight into like they've seen some things, beyond what has shown up on or like results wise. Like I think they saw some vulnerabilities that like, hey, we got to clean this up, and then it wasn't cleaned up and it led to losses. How does the team process, because it's funny, we talk about my daughter's soccer team a lot. Like they go through stretches like Notre Dame's women's basketball team this year, where it's like they won 19 in a row. It's like they may not ever lose again. They might just run the table for the rest of the season, and then they go through these 2-game stretch where it's like, are they going to win again? Like are they even like a 5 seed, right? Like, because it just like it can kind of switch like that. How does the team, and this is good to ask you this because you've been in that locker room, you've been in this situation before. Like, how does the team process, a 2-game kind of slump like this, where it's like you kind of lose like why you're so good?
Right.
How does the team process that? How do you bounce back? Like, how do you talk to each other? What is Niele saying to them in the locker room? I mean, an hour and 20 minutes after the Florida State loss, it took her to come meet the media. Like, To me, I'm trying to figure stuff out, like that's a long time.
I saw that. I saw
yeah.
that
So
tweet.
like,
I was like, oh
what's
my
going
God.
on there?
Yeah.
What is being communicated?
Oof. You know, as a player, I would say that like this is when it gets tough. This is like just me being fully transparent. Um, Everyone is uptight. Everyone is emotional, and everyone is trying to solve a problem as one whole collective when everyone also has their individual problems. So she was definitely in there for an hour and 20 minutes because a lot of this had to happen. Like when stuff like that happens and you're losing games like that, games that you shouldn't be losing, is like it's full accountability. So like I remember when I was on the team and we went through losses, everything in practice was being exposed, and as a leader, which I think, in my honest opinion, is something that this team lacks, is like I can't tell who their leader is when I watch them. And I know there's different situations going on. There's people coming back. There's new rotations. I and when I say leader, it does not mean the leader of any specific category.
Right.
And I think like Sonia leads by example. She's very quiet. She is never anything but herself. And she's always like this. And that's a great leader, obviously. But you also need another one to like balance that vocally and emotionally. And the one that brings everybody together and is like, calm down. We need to do this, this, and this. And that doesn't always mean that has to be the person with the ball in their hands. But like that's something that I think that they could really use right now is someone who's older stepping up, maybe like Maddie or Liza or Leah too, who has the experience and has the confidence, and one person that the whole team trusts in their voice. And I would just say there's a lot of accountability that goes on. There's a lot of emotions. Practices are really intense. They're really hard because things are being exposed. So you better be in help. You better be guarding the ball to your best. And you better be in the correct position in offense every time, or it's going to get called out. Whereas like on another day, you might be able to get away with it. Maybe someone covers up the mistake, but the practice players are going 10 times harder. The coaches are coaching 10 times harder. And that's also why it's a blessing, because, you kind of have to come back down, come back to reality.
Yeah.
But they didn't handle the NC State loss in a mature way. They were immature about it. They didn't come in and fix what they needed to fix. It was just exposed even more. Which, yes, like we can keep talking about it, like losing and learning is a blessing, but it's like not in March, because now you're co-champs.
Your season's over. Like they're co-champs. Like shocking. Like they're not. They're the 2 seed.
Like that sucks.
Right. Like should not have happened. Like the fact that they.
Yeah.
I mean, and look at. Hopefully that's motivating for them, right? I mean, hopefully that's something that they can rally around and be like, no, we're not doing this again. Like Sony said it right. Like your season can end very quickly. You can be done.
And you
like
have 7 seniors.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. Like the way you're talking about, like, leadership, and you can't tell who the leader is on the team and whether on the court. Like, to me, that screams Maddie. Like, because Maddie,
right.
I know her personality a little bit, she doesn't suffer fools, and look, she came back for this specific reason.
Like maybe we can give her a pass, like, or maybe it's going to ramp up a little bit because she's coming back from like a serious injury. So it's like I think it's evident that she's still trying to find her way a little bit. Like she's probably not used to only taking single-digit shot attempts, which also I think they could do a little bit better job of getting her the ball. Like when she rim runs and when they're early posting, like they need to throw it in there more. I think I understand Olivia and Hannah are trying to attack, but if you throw that, it's going to make early in the game, it's going to make your lanes easier to get downhill and then draw contact, because then the defense will shift. But yeah, I hope that they have a good week of practice, that they're feeling their best. Like at this point, you got to let it go. You have to move on.
Yeah.
It's a new season. Postseason is a new season. And Neil always taught us that. Like now it's March, it's a new season. You let it go, you
Yeah.
move on. And I hope that, third time's a charm. Didn't learn the lesson the first time, second time, and now you bring it together and go get the ACC title, get your 1 seed, punch the ticket. Totally capable still.
Right.
Totally capable.
It's been said a couple of times, right? Everything is still in front of them. Everything that they want is still in front of them. And so that they can go get it. And look, I don't even want to say, give Maddie a pass or whatever. Like it was 2 games. We don't know how it's going to turn out. And that's the thing, right? Like the 2 losses in a row were the 2 losses in a row, and they happened for the reasons that, we kind of described. They did bounce back against Louisville, right? They did have a good run against them in the second half. And that obviously leaves a better taste in your mouth than the last time they were at home against Florida State. And like you said, they have the ACC tournament, and hopefully they can just be their best selves, like you just said, be the best version of the basketball team that they can be. Their top level is the best in the nation. It just is. Their best ball is dominant. That's completely eviscerated USC. Their best ball beat UConn, right? Their best ball beat Texas. Like their top is good enough to win everything. They just have to go do it, Look, they have the ACC tournament coming up. Like I said, the first game is on Friday. And, look, we'll see how that goes, right? But it is winning time. And look, they have big time players, right? There are a lot of teams that would love to be, 24-4 in their position. And, trying to
what they've done is still spectacular. Like that's another great regular season for Neil and the team in the books.
Yeah.
But everyone, especially when you're a part of the program and the alumni, everyone knows how good they really are and the standard. So it's like, I know we're talking like this, like, oh, we're co-champs. Like, it's great that we're co-champs.
The standard is
but
the
it's
standard.
like this. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They're good enough for that. Like that, they've earned it. They have earned the expectations,
Correct.
And there are their own expectations, right? It's not like it's not like we're putting something on them that doesn't, that doesn't really fit.
Right.
So listen, we'll be covering that. We'll be talking about that. It's tournament season. So look, we're gonna be back very soon after, or hopefully during the ACC tournament, and then we'll see how it turned out for the ladies. So look, Dara, it's been a pleasure as always. You've got stuff going on. You might have a practice. I know it's Ash Wednesday. We'll release this on Friday, but it's Ash Wednesday. So you're going to Mass.
I'm going to Mass tonight, and it's going to be
your
in
blessings.
Hungarian. My Hungarian blessing.
We'll talk about that. So all right, we'll be back soon. Hopefully, we'll release this on Friday. Hopefully, the ladies come away with a nice victory in their first game of the ACC tournament. So yeah, we'll be back after that. Dara, what are we going to do in the meantime?
Get buckets, happy March, and go Irish.
Let's go.